Hey, what is up, DCS crew? None other than your boy Carlos back at it today with a review of a knife I have been dying to get my hands on, and that is from TRM USA, also known as Three Rivers Manufacturing. Now, they have a particular model called the Neutron. And I have been dying to get my hands on it. It seemed to be a great office slash casual Friday slash EDC type of folder. It fit a lot of different niches. It seemed to fit really well in the pocket. I mean, glowing reviews from a lot of the large YouTubers. They have a massive following on their Facebook and their Instagram, which, by the way, if you're not following them on Facebook, feel free to go ahead and give them a follow. Their page is actually an anagram of TRM. It's Tycoons Really Matter. That's TICOONS really matter. So go ahead and check them out. Feel free to let them know that Carlos from Daily Carry Solutions invited you to go in, and they will be more than happy to go ahead and take care of you. But in the meantime, let's go ahead and check this out. This is the Neutron in Blue G10 from Three Rivers Manufacturing. All right, folks, welcome back. Now, here it is. This is the current configuration that I have the TRM Neutron in. It's a blue G10 with a deep carry pocket clip from the Benchmade bug out. Yes, it actually does fit. The 3-hole configuration here is very similar to that of the Benchmade line of knives, in particular the Griptilian. Let me see if I had it here. Actually I do. As you can see, the holes are very similar, so they accept very similar deep carry clips. So I went ahead and I tried one out. It actually fits pretty well. It's a little bit over the scale right here, but I mean, does really well in the pocket, fires out extremely well. And one other thing I did, other than obtain it with the Blue G10 scales, is to get the blue washers for it. Now, what you can get is a washer set. Let me see if I have it here. Oh, I do. Okay, cool. So what they do is they sell little accessories to go with it. And one of them is the they sell washers or O-rings for the thumb stud, and so you can actually pick up a couple of them. They come in a pack of 4, so it's white, black, red, and blue. So in this particular case, I have it in blue, and then here is the original pocket clip that comes with it. It is not a deep carry pocket clip, so I went ahead and I switched it out. Okay, there you go. Now, before we get started on the review itself, I want to go ahead and show you, just as a size comparison, a few other knives that I have lying around. Let's see what is around that I'd like to go ahead and show here on the video. Okay, we'll start with this. This is the Kaiser Assassin. This is a prototype. It hasn't actually come out. This is from Kaiser. That's from Carlos Elsner. This is the, let's see here. Oh, here we go. This is the Benchmade Griptilian, or in this case, the Mini Griptilian. Smaller version of the grip. And as you can see, it's still a little bit bigger than the Mini Griptilian. That's 154 cm steel. Here's the Benchmade North Fork. So you can see there. You have the Spyderco Para 3. There you go. All right. Actually pretty similar in size, more or less, when you compare the two here. And one more for good measure. This is the CJRB Centros, Dylan Mallory design, from the budget line subsidiary of Artisan Cutlery. Okay. Now, the cool thing about the Neutron is, the reason why I actually got it is, besides the fact that I like to EDC nice knives and, the fact that it's made in the USA, the truth is it hits a good sweet spot when it comes to office carry-sized knives. Now, The reason why I say that it is because the fact that a lot of office-friendly knives are typically 3-inch blades and under, usually pretty thin. There's a couple of things that come into play. Some you can sacrifice, some you cannot. This one in particular, it's 4 inches in the handle, 3 inches in the blade. You get just under 3 inches for the cutting edge. I think it's just like about 2.8, 2.9, something or other. And to be completely honest, it's a moot point because you get a really, really nice blade shape over here. You have, I believe, a flat or a full flat grind on it, and very, very thin stock. It's 0.09 behind the edge. Super slicey. That's venturing into the full flat grind Delica territory, or even oh my gosh, there's another Spyderco that is extremely slicey. Oh, the Chaparral. That goes into that particular territory, extremely slicey. But rather than getting something like VG10 with the Delica or even XHP steel with the Chaparral, you're getting 20 CV steel from Crucible. That's the US-made Crucible Powder Metallurgy 20 CV. That's the equivalent of essentially Carpenter's CTS 204P steel, or Bowler's M390 steel, which we all know is like the new hotness. That's like, S35VN, how it was when S35VN came out. That was the new hotness. But this is basically the apex of steel that you can go ahead and pick up on the market today. They've gone ahead and they've created an entirely US-made knife with high quality steel. Being able to obtain something like this in this configuration for about $170-ish, give or take shipping and, any options you get in addition and whatnot. And I'll get to that in a moment. So that's basically, the meat and potatoes of this. One thing that I did want to mention about this knife that you won't see in a lot of other knives that are even similarly priced and sometimes even a little bit more pricey than the Neutron is the fact that the liners themselves, okay, are titanium. You're not going to see aluminum liners. You're not going to see just standard steel liners. They are actually titanium liners. And that's actually really cool because, I mean, at any day, at any given time, you can go ahead and pick up a knife, like say the Benchmade Griptilian. They have the upgraded G10 version of these knives with 20 CV steel as well. But the liners are, they're steel or they're aluminum, if I'm not mistaken. They're one of the two. And you're going to pay just as much, if not a little bit more than something like this, but this is actually titanium. And the pocket clip itself is also titanium. Right now, I don't have it on right now. I have the bug out pocket clip, but that's besides the point. Another thing that I really like about this knife is that they make it so that you can customize it to basically anything that you want that is available at that moment to be able to dress up the knife. You can actually hook it up in a bunch of different types of colors. There are a bunch of different types of scales, and I'm trying to look for them right now. Where in the heck are they? This is, oh, here we go. Okay, so I purchased the blue G10 version of the Neutron, and then later on they let me know that they had the micarta scales for the knife. And so I went ahead and I purchased those separately. Very good prices for them, by the way. You're not going to, be price gouged with, some exorbitant pricing for the scales. And aside from that, these are the micarta scales, by the way. I've actually sanded them down to see if maybe I can get a little bit more a grip out of them, but they're very nice texture. And I also picked up on the secondary market another batch of scales. These are the green G10. For them. And the cool thing about this knife is that to be able to go ahead and switch out the scale, you really just have to take these two screws off, these two screws on this side, and then the pocket clip. This all comes off, and then you pop in the new ones, put in the new screws, which I believe are T6, and you're pretty much good to go. And so it's really nice to be able to go ahead and update the knife like that. You can make your knife yours, basically. And they're always coming out with new colors. They're always coming out with new ideas, not only for this model, but for their newer model, which is the Atom. and it's slightly larger, but not only are they coming out with newer scales, but they have different versions of contoured scales. But with the Neutron, the majority of the scales you're going to see are flat like this. Nice grippy G10. You'll see smooth micarta, and you'll see what I've come to find is actually grippy, textured carbon fiber with different colors. So it'll be blue and carbon fiber, or even red and carbon fiber. Really pops. I'm not really a carbon fiber person per se. I'll get one every now and again if it's like a carbon fiber G10 laminate, just as long as it's grippy, because I come to find that, you know, carbon fiber is typically more of a smooth surface, and I like something with a little bit of grip when I hold on to it and when it's in my pocket, because as I'm sitting and you know, getting up, sometimes, you know, the knives tend to kind of bump themselves out of your pocket when you sit down. So if you have like a deep carry clip, you know, and you bump it, you want something that's going to kind of keep it in the pocket instead of just kind of like coming out there. So one thing I really like about that is the fact that yeah, the G10 on this is actually pretty good. Okay. So the handle width is 1.125 inches. So that's going to be at its thickest. Okay, so you're looking at the width of the handle right here. Aside from that, you're looking at an overall weight as it comes out of the box with the standard clip and just with everything as it is at around 2.5 ounces. That is venturing into lightweight knife territory. You don't really see a lot of knives in that weight category with, you know, full liners or even skeletonized liners. If you do, yeah, sometimes you see them with skeleton liners. These are not skeletonized at all. So you have titanium, full titanium liners on this knife. And I mean, this whole package is at 2.5 ounces. That's some serious, I mean, that's a really nice, serious package. Especially for the price that you're going to be getting for this, which varies depending on the scales and the options you choose. But in this configuration, obviously with the standard clip and without the O-rings, you're looking at $169, you know, via their website, and sometimes, you know, when they are available in small batches at places like Blade HQ. So basically, the reason why this ended up being such a good knife was because this is actually an evolution of a previous knife that they had before. And I apologize if I am butchering the name, you know, but the Viator, or the Viator, I'll say the Viator, was actually a knife that they had previous that was a two-handed opening knife. It was just a standard kind of like slip joint type of knife. And what they did was TRM actually altered the handle design of the Viator series, and then they added full, you know, titanium liners, and they created this version of their liner lock knife, which is the Neutron. Interestingly enough, even though it is nice and thin, I mean, the action is extremely smooth. Okay, I've taken it apart just to check out what it is inside. It was actually very clean. I didn't have to clean anything inside. I added a little bit of Freedom Lube, just, you know, at the pivot, just to be able to make sure that it had something inside, and, you know, just to facilitate, you know, nice action. And the truth is, it was actually, you know, smooth as it was, but now it's just nice and butter smooth. Now, this isn't the kind of knife that's just going to be like a drop shut. You literally, you know, just shake it down and it's going to close. And the reason being is because this is one of the knives, and I actually find this to be a plus, that is not on bearings. It's actually on phosphor bronze washers. You get too many knives nowadays that come out with without phosphor bronze washers that are on bearings, you know, that sort of thing. And then you tend to forget that there are really good knives that are out in the EDC community that people use all the time that are on washers. Case in point, another really good example would be the Spyderco, you know, Paramilitary 2 and the Para 3 series. These are actually both on washers. So something to consider, okay? So you have all of that, and then you have a very slicey blade. So that tends to lend this to very particular kinds of tasks. tasks that require, slicing, not very hard use, but something that, you feel that you can go ahead and use the knife for, and I mean, it will really do its work. The work that it has a nice edge to it. I haven't touched it up since I got it from the factory. The only thing that I have done is strop it a little bit here and there, during uses. And to be completely honest, with this kind of steel, because of the fact that they've heat treated it very well, that seems to have been enough to be able to go ahead and maintain the edge. Eventually, I'm going to have to sharpen it, but it doesn't seem to be a lot of work. There are other knife steels that are much, much harder to sharpen, like say S90V or, S110V, higher Rockwell hardnesses for, tool steels like Rex 45 and D2. But 20CV at even, 60, 61 Rockwell hardness is actually, not really bad to go ahead and sharpen. So it's great to hear that they have this available at a premium steel for a price that is not going to break the bank. So one thing that I do want to talk about, and this is just, it's the only con that I can, well, okay, there's two cons that I can find for this knife after everything that I've mentioned so far, which are things that I like. The cons are, three. Number one, it doesn't come with a deep carry clip option, so I have to kind of bootleg a deep carry clip off of a different knife that has a clip that's not even made for this knife, but it actually retrofits, which is good. But the standard clip, it's titanium, and that's nice, but I didn't really find that it was something that would be working well for me. I am using this in an office setting, so the fact of the matter is, number one, the knife was titanium and it was shiny, so it was something that could be seen easily inside of my dark slacks pocket. And then aside from that, it was a deep carry. It wasn't a deep carry clip, so not only are you going to see that shiny glimmer, but you're also going to see about a 1/4 inch of blue G10 just sticking out of my pocket. Everybody and their mother is going to know that I have a knife on me. Okay, so the fact is, the reason why I switched this bug out clip is because not only is it deep carry, and it actually carries much deeper than the knife itself, but it also lends itself to being a dark clip, and it's not reflective, so when it's in my pocket, nobody can see it. So that's a temporary solution to that problem. Okay, now the other issue that I had with this particular knife is that when I purchased the knife, I did purchase the G10 scales. Okay, and I went ahead and I upgraded to the micarta scales. Okay, so these are the micarta scales, and yes, they are weathered because I went ahead and I took some sandpaper and I brushed them down. I was used to the micarta scales on my Ace, the Giant Mouse Ace Biblio. In all honesty, they have I have a green canvas micarta version of it, and I actually washed it and I put it away somewhere. So while it's drying, I figured I'd do this video. The micarta that's on there, it's not linen micarta like what these are made of. It's canvas micarta. So the texturing, I'm assuming, because of the fact that it's a different type of micarta, is different. I bought these with the assumption that they were going to be grippy like those, and they're not. They're more of a soft, kind of smooth, silky feel, hence the name linen micarta. And I'm kind of shooting myself in the foot there because, it was in the name. So I really wish there was a bit of a more tacky, it doesn't necessarily have to be grippier like G10, but something that has a little bit more real estate or purchase. I would have liked to have seen a micarta option like that. Okay, now, the third and I guess the biggest gripe for me, and this is the one thing that keeps it from, really capturing the pocket real estate in my slacks anytime that I go to work, is the fact that if you look at this design, because I'm going to go ahead and put this right here in the middle, and I'm going to see if I can zoom in. Okay, that is a very, very thin stock. Okay, and aside from that, it's a very thin profile. It's nice, but I'm a type of person, I got kind of chunky hands. I call them extra mediums, and the truth is, I'm used to knives that are a little bit thicker and that allow me to grasp a little bit more. Okay, and as an example, I'm going to go ahead and show you a couple of the knives that I actually handle normally, and so you can see what the thickness difference is between all of these compared to the Neutron. Okay, now from left to right, okay, I have the Benchmade North Fork, the Benchmade Mini Griptilian, the TRM Neutron, the Spyderco Para 3, and the CJRB Centros. None of these are thick knives by any, definition. I want to say that on the thicker side, you'd probably have the North Fork, but it's more because there are contours in the layered G10 that it has, the texture G10, and yeah, a little bit thicker in these scales from both the inset liners on the Para 3 and just the standard liners that you get on the CJRB Centros. But the truth is, I'm used to something like that. And when you have something like that in your hand and you have a nice purchase on it, and then you go and you're gonna get ready for the office the next day, and you have something like this, it kind of harkens to that of something like a the thickness of, say, like a titanium folder, okay? Which in this case, I have one right next to it, and that is the Kaiser Assassin. And let me go ahead and back this up a little bit so you can see the two here. Okay, now they're more or less they're pretty similar in size. I think the Assassin's a little bit smaller, but even at that, with it just being titanium slabs, is a titanium frame lock, and this is this has titanium liners with G10 scales, and it's a liner lock. The titanium frame lock on this one is actually still thicker than the overall thickness of the Neutron. Okay, now that might be a really great thing for some people, and like Nick Shabazz would say, it's a beautiful thing. But the truth is, for me, it really isn't. Okay, I don't mind the fact that it's thin, but since I'm so used to knives that aren't, it feels foreign to me. And I feel bad saying that, because this is a really nice knife. To me, it's almost perfect. But I did reach out to, Halpern. I don't want to say her first name is. I don't know if she wants me to say her name out there. But, the person behind Three Rivers, who is very active on, Tycoons Really Matter, the Facebook, the TRM Facebook. And I told her, look, it's a great knife. I really like it a lot. I've been carrying it a little bit, but the only gripe I truly have that I can't really work around is the fact that, the scales, they could be a little bit thicker. Maybe you can make them contoured. Like, as an example, CJRB has the Centros, okay? You can buy this, or actually, not even this one. There's the Archeo, which was the other Dylan Mallory design. Now, you can get that in two scale patterns. You can get it in just the kind of like the flat, standard, I'm going to say G10, and sometimes they have carbon fiber, but you can also get contoured G10 as well. And the contouring, it's more of like a rounding of the G10 itself, so it gives kind of like a fuller profile inside of your hand, and it fills your hand a little bit better and makes it feel like it's thicker, but it's not really, because they taper at the edges. Okay, this does not. It's actually flat G10. It's a flat G10 slab that's on a flat titanium slab liner. And so while it's an additional layer from the titanium liner, it's still too thin. So I told her, and she's like, yeah, to be completely honest, you're not the first one to tell us that, and we're working on it. Okay, so obviously I know that it takes a bit to be able to go ahead and find workarounds from that, because as you are thickening the G10 slab, you have to take into consideration the screws that are in it, as well as the pivot, and everything around it. So it's actually kind of having to figure out, okay, are we gonna have to ship it with, larger hardware? Are we gonna have to go ahead and update these parts as well? I mean, at the end of the day, you don't want to go ahead and disrupt the supply chain with new parts and new costs, when you can just kind of make newer knives with those ideas incorporated into them. And I know that they have a couple of things coming up in the future. They have the Shadow. There's one other one that the Collusion, I want to say. I could be wrong, but there is one more model after the Shadow that they're working on. But I'm sure that they're going to be considering that in those future models, because it's already present on the larger version of their newer model, which is called the Atom. You have 3D contoured scales as opposed to just the standard flat scales for the Neutron. So that's basically it. That's the only con that I really say that there really isn't that much of a workaround for. But in the meantime, I mean, you know, if you want grip, yeah, you can get the G10. You may not want to go ahead and get the micarta. I'm not too sure about the carbon fiber because I haven't gotten it for myself and I haven't carried it, but I've seen it and it looks great. The clip is a titanium clip, but it is shallow. It's not a deep carry clip. So if you go ahead and you use a bug out clip like what I have here, you can go ahead and get around that. What you can't get around is the thinness of the actual, you know, the scales. Now, the thinness of the blade is great because it lends itself to being one heck of a freaking slicer. And for $169, you know, for something like this, that's a freaking steal. It's really, it really is nice, guys. I'm not gonna go ahead and you know, play that down. This knife to me is a 9 out of 10. You know, and the reason why is because, you know, the only problem that it has that can't be worked around, in my opinion, and it's only in my opinion, maybe not in yours, is the thickness of this particular knife. Everything else can be worked around. Great steel, you got great action, you know, you don't have to worry about stuff getting gunked into the bearings because it's on washers. It's easy to take down. It's easy to be able to dress in different, you know, colors and different types of handle scale materials. You got a deep carry clip option, you know, through another company, but you do have a deep carry clip option and you have great service from the company. It's completely US made, you know, and I mean, the people are just really, really nice. So, I mean, you know, kudos to Three Rivers. I know that they're doing their part in trying to go ahead and create more of a lineup behind their brand. And I'm going to continue to support them. I think it's a great company. I think if you get this, it's a great knife. It's a great investment. And it has a very, very healthy secondary market. So if this is not the knife for you and you cannot, you know, find yourself to put this in your pocket, look in the secondary market, let them know that you have a Neutron, let them know that the configuration, and more than likely you will find a buyer within the hour or within the day. I've had people that have looked at my knife and they'll be like, hey man, what are you selling that for? Because the truth is, being that Three Rivers is not a huge company, they're not like a Kershaw or, you know, a Columbia River Knife and Tool or even a Spyderco. They produce these in limited quantities. They go up and they sell on their website, or even, you know, at a small amount goes to Blade HQ and they get bought up like this. I mean, it's crazy. So, you know, the aftermarket for this, the secondary market for this is still very, very healthy because of the limited quantity of these knives. So why is it that it's so healthy? Well, it's not just the limited quality, it's because of the fact that it's quality. It's limited in quantity, but very high in quality. So take that into consideration if you're looking for a truly USA made knife with, you know, that is not with budget steel, that does not cut corners, and has excellent service, that really likes speaking to, you know, its clientele, and actually listens to feedback for future iterations of not only their current models, but for future designs. You know, my hat's off to Three Rivers for providing such a cool knife to the public and in so many configurations. Like I said, it's a 9 out of 10. The only reason why it's not perfect for me is, as I said, because of the thickness of the scales. So that being said, thank you so much for tuning in and checking out the TRM Three Rivers Manufacturing Neutron in 20 CV, a USA made knife. If you have any questions, feel free to go ahead and contact me via my website, dailycarrysolutions.com, or on my Instagram at dailycarrysolutions. And remember, it doesn't matter what kind of USA made knife you carry, okay? You can carry the TRM Neutron, you can carry, you know, the Para 3, hell, you can carry a Benchmade mini grip Tillion, but just remember, if you EDC, think of DCS, guys. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you next time. Take care.